We're live from New Delhi. You are watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Kamala Harris secures enough delegate votes to be Democratic nominee for U.S. presidential polls, says she will officially accept the nomination next week. India hosts the International Conference of Agricultural Economists. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address the 32nd edition of the conference in New Delhi. And in sports, Indian shuttler Lakshya Sen scripts history, sets eye on medal after storming into men's singles semi-finals in Paris Olympics. Well, into the details now. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has secured enough support to officially become the Democratic Party's presidential nominee. It makes Harris the first black woman and first Indian American to lead a major party into a general election. Nick Harper sends this report from Washington.
This virtual roll call was a chance for delegates who'd previously been pledged to Joe Biden to show their support to Kamala Harris, the new candidate for the Democratic Party, of course, since Joe Biden dropped out less than 2 weeks ago, saying he was not seeking re-election. This virtual roll call began on Thursday morning. It was meant to run all the way until Monday evening, and yet by the middle of Friday afternoon, it was clear that Harris had already secured enough support to officially become the nominee for the Democratic Party. A very quick period of time, much quicker than expected. The Democratic Party chairperson saying about that it was simply outstanding. Harris herself says that she is honoured to become the nominee for the President of the United States. Now, normally this would happen in person at the National Convention, a 4-day event that's taking place in Chicago in a few weeks' time, but the Democrats decided to hold this early and to do it in a virtual way. There were no challengers to Ms. Harris, so it was really considered inevitable that she would become a nominee, but of course fascinating that she did so quickly, and I think that perhaps shows the enthusiasm we've seen in the party since she said that she would be taking up that possibility of becoming the nominee after Joe Biden dropped out. She also makes history by becoming the nominee for the Democratic Party, becoming the first female of colour to top a ticket, but also the first Indian American to top a ticket as well. She could make history as well when we get to November the 5th, when the election takes place. She could become the first female president if she wins that election. All of this off the back of an incredible fundraising haul that she managed to bring in during the course of July, getting $310 million. That sets a record for grassroots funding in presidential history. It's also double the amount that her rival, Donald Trump, managed to pull in from supporters during the same month. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
Well, Israel and Hamas recently resumed tentative indirect talks to try to reach a ceasefire. An Israeli delegation is set to travel to Cairo in the coming days for negotiations to reach a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal, as per Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office. The negotiating team for a hostage deal will depart for Cairo on Saturday night or on Sunday. And U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has informed Israel about current and future changes to U.S. forces in the Middle East. Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh told reporters after a call between United States Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and the Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant that the move could include deploying additional forces to the region.
Secretary Austin spoke with Israeli Minister of Defense Gallant this morning about the destabilizing threats posed by Iran, its partners, and proxies. The secretary reiterated ironclad support for Israel's security and informed the minister of additional measures to include ongoing and future defensive force posture changes that the department will take to support the defense of Israel. Secretary Austin highlighted that further escalation is not inevitable, and that all countries in the region would benefit from a de-escalation in tensions, including through completing a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. He also stressed that the unprecedented scale of U.S. support for Israel since October 7th should leave Iran, Lebanese Hezbollah, and other Iranian-backed terrorist groups with no doubt about U.S. resolve.
And the U.S. military to deploy additional fighter jets and Navy warships to the Middle East as Washington seeks to bolster defenses following threats from Iran and its allies, Hamas and Hezbollah. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin had approved sending additional Navy cruisers and destroyers to the Middle East and Europe. The authorities have also confirmed to send additional squadron of fighter jets to the Middle East. The U.S. is bracing for Iran to make good on its vow to respond to the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh 2 days ago in Tehran. And U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has revoked a plea deal that was agreed upon earlier this week with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the man accused of masterminding the 9/11 attacks, and two of his accomplices, according to a memorandum signed by Austin on Friday. The Pentagon had said on Wednesday the plea deals had been entered into but did not elaborate on details. A U.S. official said they almost certainly involved guilty pleas in exchange for taking the death penalty off the table. And the new acting chief of the U.S. Secret Service said that local police in Pennsylvania should not be held responsible for security failures leading up to the assassination attempt on Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump last month. That led to the first shooting of a U.S. president. A major party candidate in more than 4 decades was a glaring security lapse that led last week to former Secret Service director's resignation under bipartisan congressional pressure.
In no way should any state or local agency supporting us in Butler on July 13th be held responsible for a Secret Service failure. I'm focused on ensuring that the full resources of the Secret Service are utilized to safeguard our protectees, and I've implemented and will continue to implement changes to ensure that that happens.
And Venezuela's neighboring countries like Brazil, Colombia and Mexico have pushed for President Nicolas Maduro to meet with the opposition candidate in last week's disputed election. The trio of Latin American countries want Maduro and Edmundo Gonzalez to meet without popular opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, who spearheaded the Gonzalez campaign after being barred from holding office. Nations like United States and Argentina have already recognized Gonzalez as the election's winner, whereas Costa Rica, Ecuador, Panama, Uruguay also concluded on Friday that Gonzalez received the most votes. And Peruvian President Dina Boluarte on Friday has also accused Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro of electoral fraud in relation to July 28th presidential elections. Boluarte condemned the process, putting special attention on the lack of transparency and the manipulation of the results.
Our strong stance against the electoral fraud in Venezuela is a clear example of our values. Peru, through its foreign ministry, has strongly condemned the Venezuelan electoral process, highlighting the lack of transparency and manipulation of the results.
Meanwhile, Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has called on her supporters to gather on Saturday to show support for people imprisoned for protesting against the disputed election. In the video released by Machado on X, she repeated that the opposition had won the election and said they would stay firm. On the other hand, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro criticized opposition presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez for failing to present his voting tallies to the Supreme Court of Justice. TSJ on Thursday accepted a request by President Nicolas Maduro for all presidential candidates to present their voting tallies as the dispute about last weekend's election results drags on. Maduro and 8 other presidential candidates compiled with the request to sign documents.
Hemos sido citados We were summoned to court, all of us 10 candidates. 9 of us attended the court summoning. The candidate of fascism, Gonzales Urrutia, is missing. He has not shown his face. What is he planning? More violence. What is he planning?
Well, protesters started fires in Sunderland as violence following Monday's killing of 3 children in northwest England spread to another northern city. The protesters show rage and threw stones at police in riot before overturning vehicles and setting a car next to a police office, which made it difficult for the authorities as British police were out in force across the country and mosques were tightening security. And global weather updates now. 3 people have died as a result of the intense flooding that hit central southern Chile. Heavy rains and strong winds have wreaked havoc across the country, swelling rivers, flooding homes and knocking down trees and electricity poles. In the southern city, authorities rescue people from flooded homes and streets after rain fell in urban areas and to 80 millimeters in rural areas. The rains and winds caused power and telephone outages as well as the closure of schools in the region, local media reported. Some areas have also witnessed power outage. Well, displacement camps in Sudan's eastern city of Kassala gets impacted by floods on Friday. The United Nations says that the floods have affected nearly 10,180 by the havoc. Conflict broke out in April last year between Sudan's armed forces and the paramilitary rapid support forces, displacing millions of Sudanese outside and inside the country. And floods in China's Hunan leave 30 dead, dozens missing following Typhoon Gaimi. China's weather authority issued a blue alert for severe convective weather, warning of heavy rainfall across parts of north and northeast China till Sunday. The department warned that northern and northeastern China are currently in a critical flood prevention period from late July to early August. The forecasted widespread and intense precipitation could lead to potential disasters such as floods and landslides. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Union Cabinet approves 8 high-speed road corridor projects to improve logistic efficiency, reduce congestion and enhance connectivity across the country. In a remarkable enhancement in the Indian Coast Guard's operational capabilities, it successfully conducted its maiden night landing of the ICG Dornier aircraft. And in Paris Olympics, India's Manu Bhaker eyes historic 3rd medal in shooting.
The judgment, which came with a majority, has ruled that states in the country have the power to subclassify scheduled castes and scheduled tribes.
This is about poverty, this is about backwardness and empowering the people who are not so empowered. And the leaders are not very considerate about them, then the new leadership will come out from the people who are deprived, is still not getting benefit.
Every state has different castes and different tribes. So central has a state. However, the creamy layer and non-creamy layer will differ from state to state.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lakshya Sen, and moving on, India is hosting the 32nd edition of International Conference of Agricultural Economists. Prime Minister Modi will open the conference and address the gathering on Saturday in New Delhi. The conference will explore issues and solutions in the domain of sustainable agri systems. DD India correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh reports for more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the 32nd International Conference of Agricultural Economists on Saturday. Theme for the conference is Transformation towards Sustainable Agri-Food Systems. It will showcase India's agricultural progress, including advancements in digital agriculture and sustainable agri-food systems.
The theme of this conference reflects that first a major change in the approach of agriculture economic research is that from individual component it will move towards system approach, which is a holistic approach.
The conference will highlight India's proactive approach to global agricultural challenges and showcase the nation's advancements in agriculture, research and policy.
This conference will go a long way in building up the network between the young researchers and the senior researchers from across the world and help us in capacity development and providing evidence-based research for sustainable agriculture development in the country.
The triennial conference, organized by the International Association of Agricultural Economists, is taking place from 2nd to 7th of August. The ICAE is being held in India after 65 years. The conference is witnessing participation of around 1,000 delegates from around 75 countries. In the face of growing climate change, natural disasters and human conflicts, the International Conference of Agricultural Economists will discuss the way forward for sustainable agri-food system. They will also focus on India's role and expertise in the domain. With camera person Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India in Delhi.
And moving on, Union Cabinet chaired by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi approved 8 important national high-speed road corridor projects of length 936 kilometers at a total cost of over 50,000 crore rupees or around $6.25 billion to improve logistics efficiency, reduce congestion and enhance connectivity across the country.
आज बहुत बड़ा एक फैसला हुआ है पूरे देश में 8 बड़े नेशनल हाईवे के प्रोजेक्ट्स जो कि एक्सेस कंट्रोल्ड एक्सप्रेस वेज हैं आज कैबिनेट कमेटी ऑन इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स ने प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की अध्यक्षता में अप्रूव किए हैं। ये प्रोजेक्ट्स 935 किलोमीटर की टोटल लेंथ के हैं और इसमें 50,000 करोड़ रुपए का इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा। 50,000 करोड़ रुपीस का इसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा।
And in a significant milestone, the Indian Coast Guard successfully conducted its maiden night landing of the ICG Dornier aircraft at Agati Airport in the Lakshya Islands on Friday. This successful operation marks a remarkable enhancement in the Indian Coast Guard's operational capabilities. The ability to conduct night landings will provide critical support to the local populace during natural disasters, medical evacuations and other emergencies, even during the darkest hours. Located approximately 460 kilometers west of southern India's Kochi in the Arabian Sea, Agati features the only airstrip in the Union Territory of Lakshadweep. This achievement ensures the round-the-clock presence of the ICG in the Lakshadweep archipelago, thereby strengthening the region's overall safety and security. And some updates on Wayanad landslides now. The toll from landslides in Wayanad district of South India's Kerala rose to 210 on Friday, while 139 mangled body parts were retrieved from the affected areas, particularly the Chaliyar River, as rescuers continue to search under the debris of homes for any signs of life 3 days after tragedy struck the area. Immediate survivors of the tragedy are staying in 17 camps, which houses almost 2,600 people. Across the district, 91 relief camps have been opened where around 10,000 people are staying. At the same time, rescue operations have moved into next stage, deploying more manpower, machinery and sophisticated sensors to locate those trapped in the soil and debris. A drone-based radar to detect dead bodies on the ground will also be deployed soon. Now let's take a look at other stories making news today. The Adi Thirukalyanam celebrations commenced with the hoisting of the holy flag at the famous Sri Ramathaswamy temple. The highlight of the temple is the marriage between Lord Ramanathaswamy and goddess Parvati Vardhani Ammal. This festival draws hundreds of devotees from across the world. The entire festival lasts for 17 days. The 3-day-long theatre festival, Pagaha, organized by WOMAID, is concluded with a good response from the audience at Tagore Hall in Srinagar. The festival showed outstanding performances that captivated viewers and set the stage for a week-long celebration of Kashmiri theatre, particularly folk theatre and its rich cultural history. And now to all the updates from Paris Olympics. Well, it was a historic day for India at the Paris 2024 Olympics on Friday. After some unexpected exits on Thursday, the Indian contingent bounced back successfully on day 7. DD India's Narayan Singh will give you more.
Indian athletes reached multiple milestones on day 7 of the Paris Olympics, showcasing their prowess across various disciplines and bringing pride to the nation with their stupendous performance. In a spectacular show of skill and determination, if you talk about the shooting event, India's Manu Baka advanced to her third final in the ongoing Olympic Games. Baka secured her place in the women's 25-meter pistol shooting event with an impressive overall score of 590, finishing second in the qualification round. Baka, who is 22-year-old, who has already bagged 2 bronze medals in the women's 10-meter air pistol and the mixed team events 10-meter air pistol event, scored 294 points in the precision and 298 in the rapid round. Meanwhile, fellow shooter Isha Singh finished 18th. Talking about hockey, in a historic triumph on the hockey field, skipper Harmanpreet Singh led India to a thrilling 3-2 victory over Tokyo 2020 silver medalist Australia. This victory marks India's first Olympic win against Australia since the Munich Games in 1972, breaking a 52-year-old drought. Talking about Harmanpreet Singh, who scored 2 goals, continues his winning streak for India. And if you talk about another goal scorer, it was Abhishek. In badminton, Lakshya Sen added to India's glory with a nail-biting win in the quarterfinals against Tin Chen of Chinese Taipei. Sen's victory makes him first Indian man to reach the singles semi-final at the badminton event at the Olympics, setting a new benchmark for the sports in the country. Now talking about archery, Ankita Bhagat and Dheeraj Bommaradevra made history by becoming the first Indian duo to reach the semi-finals in the mixed team archery at the Olympic Games. Despite their groundbreaking performance, they fell short of securing a medal, losing the bronze medal match against the team of USA. India's athletes are making waves at the Paris Games, breaking records and setting new standards of excellence. As the competition progresses, the nation eagerly waits for more moments of triumph and celebration from our talented athletes.
And now let's look at the medals tally at Paris Olympics so far. China leads the medal tally with 13 gold, 9 silver and 9 bronze. It is closely followed by France, which has clinched 11 gold, 12 silver and 13 bronze medals so far, while Australia is at the 3rd place with 11 gold, 6 silver and 5 bronze. Meanwhile, India will look forward to adding another medal today. It is currently at 48th position with 3 bronze medals so far. All 3 have come from shooting. DD India correspondent Narayan Singh spoke to Dheeraj Bommaradevra, who finished at 4th position in the archery mixed team event at the Paris Olympics alongside Ankita Bhagat. Take a look.
Indian archery team missed the medal by a whisker, but history has been created as first time Indian archery team reached the semi-finals. Dheeraj is well. Dheeraj, congratulations. You missed the medal, but performance was exceptional. And last time we were in the quarterfinal, this time in the semi-finals. Overall, how you analyze this performance here in Paris?
जी बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है हम लोग को कि हम अपने से इम्प्रूव हो रहा है पिछले कुछ ओलंपिक से एंड पिछले कुछ साल से हम आगे बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, मेडल के करीब आते जा रहे हैं एंड एट द सेम टाइम हम लोग को बहुत दुखी भी लग रहा है कि एक कदम पीछे रह गए मेडल का.
लास्ट टाइम इट वाज क्वार्टर फाइनल, नाउ इन द सेमीफाइनल्स एंड even in the recurve also, if you talk about compound, continuous progress is there in the improvement is there. So what are the reasons you find behind this consistent performance and improvement in the Indian archery?
जी सबसे मेन इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग आता है कि सपोर्ट ऑफ गवर्नमेंट जो आर्चरी को इतना सपोर्ट कर रहा है, जिसके वजह से हम लोग धीरे धीरे इम्प्रूव होते जा रहे हैं एंड ऑफ कोर्स इतना इम्प्रूवमेंट कि एक कदम पीछे रह गए हम लोग. पर इधर तक आने के लिए भी जितना भी गवर्नमेंट साइट टॉप्स एंड आर्चरी एसोसिएशन एंड आर्मी स्पोर्ट्स इंस्टीट्यूट का जो मेहनत था हम लोग को सपोर्ट करने का, सारा टूर्नामेंट एक्सपोजर्स को भेजने का एंड फॉरेन ट्रेनिंग्स को भेजने का एंड हमारा सिर्फ एथलीट्स को ही नहीं कोचेस पे भी ध्यान देने का, उनको सपोर्ट करके हम लोग को सिखाने का, ये सारे चीज़ें बहुत ज़्यादा मैटर पड़ जाता है जब कोई भी गेम में इम्प्रूवमेंट लाने के लिए.
So definitely our archer are hoping that they will go notch higher, and as he mentioned that Olympics is altogether a different ball game, and next time Dheeraj will come up with flying colors. With camera person Senthil, Narayan Singh, DD India, Paris.
All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as this breaks here on DD India. I'm Nipakshi Kurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India.